Good evening. Welcome to Crisis Time at Dundee United. It's episode 16 of the Tannadice Tales. And if this episode goes very wrong, don't be surprised if it's one of the last, because we have had a shocking spell in recent weeks. You have, of course, saw part of that on Sunday in a live stream on Sunday morning. Thank you all for joining along with that. And thank you to those that have caught up afterwards. And it's not gone great since either. We played 4 games off camera. We're back after the winter break. And it is not looking good. So thank you to everyone that's popped along this evening. It's lovely to have a few of you waiting already. If you haven't, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. It does make such a difference. Come and get involved down in the chat. Let me know how you're getting on. Let me know how your week's going so far. As we go with Dundee United into a crucial January spell. We'll talk a little bit about transfer plans, of which there's not a huge amount, to be honest, because we've got a good squad. It's getting them firing. We'll talk a little bit about some of the things that might be going wrong, some of the players that might be slightly off at the moment, and we'll try and get some wins, because that's the most important thing. You can see from the top of the screen, it's not the fact that we're losing games that's the issue. We've conceded 6 in our last away game, 4 in our last home game. And now we've got a Scottish Championship side in Hibernian, whose best player we stole in the summer. And we've got to find a way out of this, because we are in massive trouble. I have still been looking at Hibs for signings, the likes of Kevin Nisbet, who's still there in the second tier. He's worth loads of money. We just can't do anything about it. So it's problematic times. There's no point in denying it. Hibs are definitely coming back up. They're top of the Championship, and they're going to start pulling away soon. So that's not even going to be an easy test, just because it's a Championship team. But let's go and get into it. There's transfer news first, and we'll start with all of the ins and outs potentially going on. So, Ross Graham is likely to leave the club to Hearts. Mark Reynolds has 3 offers, all from down south or in the Republic of Ireland. Michael MacArthur, the bids are getting bigger for a young player. He'll go soon. And 3 others have already pre-agreed to leave. So, there's a lot of fringe players going out of the club. The one that we'd pre-agreed before was Jason Kerr. We talked about potentially signing him on a permanent in January instead, if the fee was small enough. Unfortunately, it's £1 million in Johnston want. I presume that's still the case. It is. We cannot pay $1 million for half a year of him. We've got Mengi on loan till the end of the season, then he can replace him. For now, we'll live with it. If we look at the history, Jack Byrne has joined us as we'd pre-agreed previously. Another option out wide, an option as a number 10 as a centre midfielder. Just gives us a little more food for thought in certain positions. And a bit more competition, if anything. Nobody's left the club yet, but we were already making a profit. We've made money from Europe. We're doing all right in that sense. And now, quite frankly, it's about what can we achieve. We've got a couple of players in the reserves really pushing and grinding to get into the first team. Some of them need football, some of them need experience. But for now, it's all about football. If we have a look at the schedule, it has been disastrous. You can see after the Besiktas game, we did sneak a win against St Mirren. And then it has all gone shockingly. So it's going to be a long day. But thank you to everyone popping in. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. Love to see you here this evening. And if you can, come and get involved in the chat. If your side's playing this evening or tomorrow, let me know who they've got this midweek. And of course, how you're getting on with FM and how you're getting on generally. Hopefully you're all well. Almost up to double figures already. So I do appreciate it. Thank you for popping in. Tom, many people think 2020 was the worst year on record. What's your best one? That's a good question, actually. So I've never even thought about it. Possibly 2014. Oh, the only reason I say that off the top of my head is it was a great World Cup. I remember watching the World Cup. It was brilliant. It was on in the evening, which was great for us. I finished an apprenticeship and got a proper job after it to continue. And obviously it's at the same place I'm now a manager. And Luton won the National League with 100 points and 100 goals. I mean, there's plenty of positives there, isn't there? So I'd probably have to say as a whole, thinking big events, probably 2014. But, I mean, that's the only logic I can use. It's something I've not thought about before. But, you know, I was in pretty good shape then as well. I guess that's the only other positive. I haven't been in most of the time since. So I'd say 2014. What about yourselves? It's a great question, though. It's something we probably never think about. We're always too keen to worry about the negatives, aren't we? But let's look at the 4 games off camera quickly. We nicked a 1-0 win against St Mirren. Mark McNulty stole it again. Carlton Morris missed a penalty. We lost 1-0 at St Johnstone. a poor performance, a poor result. We lost 6-3 at Rangers. The only positive is Shankland ended his goal drought again. Carlton Morris got 2 in that one off the substitutes bench. And then at home to Motherwell, Shankland got 2 more, but it wasn't enough. Stevie Mallon got a goal, and we were just awful at the back. It's not like it's a massive change to last season. Sometimes you say with a tactic, oh, has a team found you out perhaps? But I don't know if that's the case here. We've still got pretty similar and expected goals to what we had last season. We've still got not much of a worse defensive expected goals against. We've got strikers out of form and defences that aren't working. It's just one of those things, I think. We just have to get through the season and try and sneak into Europe again. Charlie, Blackburn game's been postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. Is that acceptable for a championship club in 2021? Well, the problem I had with this is that when undersoil heating became mandatory in the Premier League, Blackburn were in the Premier League. Now, I'm sure they haven't stripped it out. Is it perhaps a problem if they've got the new part synthetic surface that it doesn't work as well? But surely it should be... They should have undersoil heating at a stadium like Ewood Park. It's a brilliant ground. I just find it astounding. I don't want to say it's unacceptable because there are situations at the moment where grounds end up underwater and where snow can cause huge problems when it melts. But for a waterlogged pitch due to rain without flooding seems bizarre at this level. Carl, Blackburn's pitch was shocking Saturday. That's a fair point actually from the highlights. Andy K, welcome along. Nice to have some newer faces and some regulars in. I've seen you in the comments in a few videos, so I'm sure. Evening on furlough this week. Bored but binge watched the Bangor save and popped along this evening. Keep up the good work. Appreciate the kind words. Thank you for getting involved and watching the Bangor save as well. It's turning into or shaping into quite a good one this year. I'm really enjoying it actually. The Build a Nation side's become quite enjoyable for me with Cliftonville last year and Bangor this year. Sorry to hear you're on furlough because a lot of people, and this is probably about the most political I'll get, a lot of people have resentment to people on furlough getting paid to not work. But the from NHS side of it, the mental side of it just isn't thought about. Like they're frustrated that you're going to work and you've still got that normality, that routine, that interaction, you know. So, and then we're frustrated because we're working our backsides off and can't afford to hire people that need support. So it's a very strange one. Tom, 2016 was good for me. Living in China, then Spain, yeah. And then you came back in the second half of the year and got some grounds in as well. And we started doing the 92. So I guess at that point, that's a good year as well. And it was a good Euros. It was enjoyable to watch. Not from an England point of view, but it was enjoyable to watch. So, yeah. 2016 was a good year as well, actually. There's plenty of them about. There's not many that have been bad years. I guess 2016 for me will always... I mean, the one moment that will define my 2016, Tom, was that 10 minutes when we left the cricket ground and I was on crutches trying to get to the nearest road that wasn't closed. I think that still goes down as the worst 10 minutes of my life. So even though 2016 was an alright year, bar the double leg break and ankle ligaments, that 10 minutes is among the worst of my life and I can't pick that as my favourite year as a result. And obviously I've never played competitive football since. Charlie Porterdown have retweeted. Excellent. So we had an interview out on the podcast channel with Matthew Tipton. Scored goals in the EFLs, played under the likes of Warnock and Paul Ince. Manages Porterdown, one of the bigger sides institutional-wise in Northern Ireland now. So great to hear that they're supporting it. I've got to say, the community in Northern Irish football has been astounding. We've really enjoyed it. We're going to get into the first game today. Shankland's out with a knock. Fuchs is out at the African Nations Cup. And a couple of the under-18s aren't fit. What we did in the 2.5 week break, we gave everyone 2 weeks off from the first 11 that was struggling for fitness or had been having a heavy match load, injuries, fatigue. We sent them all on holiday for 2 weeks. They only come back 3 or 4 days ago. So it might be a problem today, but we'll see how it goes. Jack Burns on the bench. He'll get a number ahead of his potential debut. We'll just see how it goes. There's no harm in trying, is there? No Brazil fan club this time. It's only the English clubs that seem to have a Brazil fan club. There's only what? Because the only one we didn't have one was it Newport, who were obviously Welsh in the English league. But I think all of the English-based sides have had a Brazilian fan club of some sort. And most of them an Argentinian one as well. But we're hosting second-tier Hibs. I mean, I don't know how the first half's going to go, to be honest. It's very stuttery for some reason. I'm sure it'll sort itself out in a minute. There we go. Just the first few seconds looked a little bit jittery there. I couldn't even think of the right word. As Duffy comes down the right-hand side. Lovely run so far. If we can get up early, that would be great. He's challenged, but it falls for Matheson. Back from injury himself before the winter break. Up to Mallon. Crossed into McNulty. Loses out in the air. Doidge brings it away. And this is where we're under threat. We've conceded so many counter-attacks this year. We even dropped the wing-backs back to defensive duties. It's not helped. I don't really know what to do with it, as Opoku gets it into Ojo. Time on the ball. I'll catch up with the chat in a second as Taylor picks it up in the centre circle. Over the tops towards Billy Bowden. Gets it on the left flank, in towards Doidge, and it's off the bar. Already nearly conceded. Oh, he just looks so brittle. Really is quite worrying. Karl Kaiserslautern second in the Bundesliga with a Tony Pulis tactic. I mean, you seem to be having great success with that. I still can't get the long throw going in other saves. It's been a bit of a shame for me this year. Charlie, what's the Tony Pulis tactic? I think Carl's got a team of largely 6'4" pluses and a long throw and back post corners, I'm guessing. The last bit I'm assuming. The rest of it I know for fact. Thank you to everyone coming in as well. Lovely to be within double figures as always. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. Your support is greatly appreciated. And come and get involved in the chat, of course. We've got championship predictions for some fixtures tonight. I think the first one's at 6. I've got West Ham v West Brom on record because that's the only one I've got on the telly. So I'll be catching up with that after this stream. As Matheson picks it up on the right. Down towards Morris. Flicks onto McNulty, you can't get there. But it falls for Duffy on the right again. And this is the chance. Duffy to the byline. Get the ball in. Oh, they're dallying on the crosses. It eventually finds Morris. Duffy again. Stevie Mallon. Blocked second time. Stevie Mallon against his former club. It had to be him. That is absolutely lovely to see. Stevie Mallon gets the goal. It's 1-0 Dundee United. And to be honest, on the balance of play, it's probably not deserved. But we'll take it. It's going to be a good result if we can win it. Yeah, Carl, long throw specialist, 6'5" after team. Kick it long to the 6'6" striker. One creative player who's great on corners and free kicks. Overload the box. I mean, you don't need any more, do you? Football's a very simple game. If you don't mind about being fancy and how you play, it always works out. I mean, there's a reason that people like Pulis and Big Sam and Sean Dyche at Burnley, although his side do play slightly better football, I've got to say, actually. But those more direct teams, rather than long ball, more direct teams, can be successful and you can make a career from it. As we've got the ball at the back with Siegrist, I'd kind of like to get a second to wrap this up. Because in instances where we've gone 1-0 up, we've often thrown it away. And although we're a good side chasing in terms of scoring, we do often concede a few more as well. So Siegrist has the ball in his own box, goes long towards McNulty. Headed away as far as the left-hand side for Sporrell. But he's not going to win the challenge there and he's on a yellow. I'm really worried about that. I might have to change him in a minute. As Doidge gets it out to Kane again. Into the box. Mengi heads away. And let's be honest, it doesn't look like top half Premiership against Championship side, does it? It looks like a very even match. And that's probably an area of concern for me. Because when Hibs come up next year, we'd expect to beat them. And at the moment, it doesn't look like we will. So I'm going to drop to balanced. We're going to close down Todd Kane. And with an hour gone, I've got to make changes. Sporrell's going to come off because he's on a booking, and the rest will work around. So Sporrell will be replaced by Jack Byrne. We're going to get him on for a debut on the right wing. Duffy will switch to the left. Alongside him, we'll go for O'Reilly, replaced by Glenn Ray, perhaps. I think he's the best option of the ones we've got. Mallon will be the playmaker. And then up front, I'm going to bring on young Finn Malcolm for, I think, Carlton Morris. Because Mark McNulty's still a very good player. And we don't want him getting in a goal drought when Shankland's not been scoring all season. That's my concern. As we're defending a throw on the right. Nisbet plays a 1-2 with Kane. Good punch by Siegrist. Taylor knocks it down though. Ojo's got time on the edge. That's a good effort. And the crossbar sends it over. But I tell you what. This has been a really poor display against the team in the division below. You've got to be worried. You really have. Opoku finds Taylor, who plays down the line to Billy Bowden. They're skinning us again. What on earth is going on? Back to Taylor. It's deservedly in via Nisbet. I don't really know what to say. We've actually been outclassed here. In a lot of the games, it's been that we've just been poor defensively or we've wasted chances. Here we have been genuinely outclassed throughout most of the game. As Siegrist plays a long goal kick towards Byrne, the new man. He flicks it on. Finn Malcolm and McNulty are chasing. Byrne wins it back to McNulty. Byrne into the box. He goes alone. What an impact that man has made. 9 minutes into his debut, Jack Byrne with the goal, the acrobatic celebration, and a fantastic win so far. A brilliant moment, 2-1 ahead, and we look like we've got a new hero again. Charlie's loving the long ball tactics from Carl. No football in your save. Week's fine if tick attack as mentioned. I like that. To be honest, I've never played really with tactics like that. I know with Bangor and now with Hibbs in the head coach, as we've conceded straight away. Because we're playing more sort of central tactics with a narrow diamond, we're having to play a bit shorter. But I still prefer to play with sort of a medium passing range, or at least with a higher tempo. I don't like that keeping the ball short for passing sake and playing slow possession football. I just associate it with England friendlies in years gone by, playing along the back four and it not actually going anywhere. So, I don't know if we have a replay, if we had extra time. I presume it's a replay based on that, because we're just going to the end of the game. But that was pretty disastrous in all forms. Thank you to everyone joining in as well. Lovely to have you along. Please do chuck a thumbs up if you haven't already. Come and get involved in the chat with us. There's plenty of football to enjoy this evening, so I'm sure we'll have plenty of fun. But I'm starting to worry about my job a bit here. Next up is Ayr United, who are 6th. Now, I'm looking at the top 6 split. We're 10 points clear, basically, of the rest. If I show you the table, I mean, from St Mirren down, they've all been inconsistent, which has helped us. We're 9 points clear of them. Ayr are 3 points behind. So at the moment, I'm looking at that table and thinking, at the very least, we're going to get 5th. We'll get into Europe. It'll be fine. However, if we lose the Ayr game, we have to start wondering, are we going to get dropped out of that? And if we do, then is our job in jeopardy? Because if we go and have a look at the club vision, I mean, it can't look great. I'm just presuming it can't look great. Because what on earth would they expect apart from success? So you can see there, it's gone back to average. Through the league, we're supposed to qualify for the Europa League, which is 3rd. We can't do that. And if we drop from 5th, I think our job will be in trouble. Yes, we did well in the Europa League, getting to the group stages. Yes, we reached the League Cup semi-final. Yes, we're still in the Scottish Cup. But that could go if we lose the Hibs replay. So I'm starting to get into the territory where I worry a little bit. Are we going to be alright? I don't really know at this point, to be honest. Who was the original player to do the socks rolled down? Seems to be loads around now. Pleb's the first I can think of. Oh, there'll be someone obscure that we don't know. I'm just trying to think back. I can't think of any earlier than that either, but... Oh, there you go. Carl said it. Steve Claridge. That would definitely be an era before. I can't see how Pleb would have nicked that from Steve Claridge. There's got to be someone in between those two that was sort of the link person to it happening then. Got an assistant who likes the long ball route one, and some of the comments are great from him to the media. I suppose because I'm one of the few that does the press conferences, aren't I? It's something I don't mind, actually. But then I'm used to working in a managerial role where I have to answer the same questions every day, so it's nothing new to me, I suppose. I'm not as frustrated by it. So Ayr away is a big one for us. I don't really know how we recover if we don't win this game. And what do we do if we get sacked? I guess we've got to start talking about it. Do we carry on with another club? Do we try and get another job and rebuild? We should have some form of reputation, shouldn't we? Because we've managed in Europe. We've done really well in our first season. It's just how much it's damaged by this year. We'll go and have a look at the profile. Oh, it's not great. We haven't done a badge. So, I mean, we could potentially, if we get sacked, we could end up in the National League. I mean, what a turn it would be for this save. To go from getting through to the Europa League group stages and, let's say, drawing at home to Besiktas to going to Solihull on a Tuesday night, basically. So we've drawn, if we get through against Hibernian, one of the 4 teams above us in the league at home. That's concerning. I mean, it may seem that I'm being a bit worried or a bit negative to that. I don't actually know what to be positive about. I can't turn the corner with this team. Even against Rangers, I tried to play with a holding midfielder. We'd let him 5 by the 60-minute mark. I don't know. It seems like every solution is a problem. And it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's the problem. Dylan, good evening. Are you happy about getting Naismith from us? Looked really solid. He came on Saturday quite early on because Lockyer got a head injury with the red card. Did a really solid job. Excellent work for us. Looks like he's going to be a great signing. Good experience one as well because we've got a lot of younger players or players that haven't played a lot of those levels. So good to have Naismith in. Did a really good job. Looks solid. Thank you to everyone joining in as well. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It does make such a difference. Helps people find us. And the more the merrier. We've got a lovely little community here. And you might be seeing next stream us trying to find a new job because I don't know how patient this board are going to be. I'm quite worried about where we are. We had a poor youth intake preview as well. It's not good. It really isn't good, to be brutally honest. There's not a huge amount I can say that is going to make it look any better. So let's just crack on and get into the next game because quite frankly, Ayr United are above all expectation in 6th. The benefit we have is the top scorer in the league is Darren Watson with 15. He's on loan from us. I've looked into recalling him and potentially selling on Shankland. But then he scored those goals after Christmas, which put a false sense of security on it. I think what I've decided is if Shankland doesn't score in these next 4 games before the end of the month, which he will play now after coming back from injury, I'm going to try and sell him. He's worth 6.5 million. Let's try and get, say, 10 million or so for him. Let's bring back the youngsters, play Malcolm, play Watson, get them football. And then we'll reinvest in a whole new squad in the summer in the positions needed. But for now, we've got to find a solution that works. So what I'm going to do is Duffy played okay, Sporrell not so much. So I'm going to put Duffy on the left. I'm going to put Burnin on the right from the start. Shankland's going to start instead of Morris. Morris on the bench instead of Malcolm. Eastwood doesn't need to be on the bench for the cup, so Pearson back on for him. The only one I'd like to get on the bench is Mockery because he's improving quickly and he's a bit more of a creative type in midfield. And O'Reilly's just starting to dip again. And it's no coincidence that it says championship clubs are interested in his services. So maybe do we drop him out? I might put Mallon in there. It would have been more ideal to do it when Fuchs was available. But for now, Glenn Ray in the middle. It gives us a bit more bite in the team as well. I think that's what we're going to go for. So there's the 11. You can see the midfield is the weakness. But let's just get into it. Lawrence Shankland needs to turn up to the party again. And Ayr United away. 6th v 5th. And we need to win this to stay in European contention. Cormac, welcome along. Thank you for popping in. Lovely to see some new faces and new names as well as all the regulars. Roberto Baggio wore his socks rolled down. Maybe Hleb followed him. I guess that's probably more likely than Steve Claridge, to be fair. I'll give you that one. Yes, he's fantastic. He can play centre-back, left-back, left mid. Yeah, so he came on for us. Even in that game, he sort of, for a little while, played left of 3 centre-halves. He played in centre mid very briefly and left-back cover as well. So he's going to be such an asset to us. But he's a quality player. And he looks like he's going to be a good squad man. And I'm hoping going from League 1 to the Championship that he'll be happy to be a squad player as well. Because I'm guessing most of his other offers would have been from League 1 or perhaps even League 2. So I think he's a really good signing. Nathan Jones was, I don't know the right word, he was very celebratory of getting a signing. He seemed to value him really highly. But, I mean, Nathan Jones is known for talking things up. Dylan, tell me a team in the UK. I'll do an FM save because I'm bored with the Wigan one. Farsley Celtic from Tom in first. They were my first opponents in FM20's head coach with Kettering. My first job, my first game was against Farsley Celtic. I'm trying to think of one myself, but Tom's one's probably as good as any. I don't think I can go as random as that. Yeah, I think stick with Farsley Celtic. I can't top it. Tom, you're straight in with a flyer there. I mean, depending on the constraints, I'd say have a look and see if Billericay are in trouble financially. And if they've still got any of the big earners on the bill. But otherwise, Farsley Celtic's probably the best shout you're going to get tonight. So I'll let Tom take the win on that one. We're going positive here. We've had a decent half an hour, but I wouldn't say we've looked like scoring at any stage. And the highlights are still all Ayr United, which is a real concern for me. Millhead gets it on the left, into Walsh. Goes for the shot, it's over. I've got to hope they'll be toothless without Watson. But we look toothless as well. I've never seen a team with such quality going forward, or with so many goals scored last season. Just claps. As Ray gets it in, Shankland's one-on-one, has to score. Oh, last season he scores that. He's dragged it wide again. Every time we think the goal drought's over and he's going to go on a little run, he scores 2, he scores 3, then he goes 5 or 6 without scoring again, or 13 as it was last time. As Ray picks it up in the middle, he is looking good tonight though. Out to Byrne on the right, who's made an impact out there. Into Mark McNulty, who scores. And at least we've got one striker who's still hitting the target. Aberdeen were interested, but I think he prefers English, although he's Scottish. Prefers England, sorry. Well, he was a hero for me at Cliftonville in FM20 in the Build a Nation. He was so versatile. Again, played left back, centre mid, left wing, and was my backup in all 3 areas. But I think he's a really good player. And the Scottish game, there's a lot of talk negatively about the status in, isn't there? So you can understand why players might be put off if they've got English options. It's a sad state of affairs, really. Tom, your local team going to get to a game when possible? Are they your local team? I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've never really known where Farsley Celtic is, to be brutally honest. I mean, your local team is surely Leeds, is it not? It's 2 miles away. But I would have thought, I just assumed your locals would be like Harrogate or something like that. Or maybe even a Guiseley, perhaps. If Farsley Celtic's your local, we'll go up and watch a game at some point when we're able to again. Hopefully, if this... oh, jeez. 1 back already. I mean, Shankland's got his goal. That's a positive. But 1 back already. And Ayr United. Second half syndrome again for us. The amount of goals we concede in that 15 minutes after half-time is bordering on scary. They've gone 4-2-4. 2 strikers with Watson out is going to be dangerous. Mallon gets the ball into the box though. Byrne can't get there. He's had a brilliant game on the right wing. Might be just the injection we need. Sometimes it doesn't take an overhaul. It just takes one quality player to come in. Just to give a bit of a lift to the dressing room. As Duffy gets the ball across the box, it's cleared away. I'll come back to the chat in a minute as Stevie Mallon picks it up. All I was going to add on the going to football is I just hope these vaccinations work and fingers crossed we can start going again soon. But that's my only hope at the minute. As Matheson finds Mallon into Ray. He's had a great game in there. I've got to be fair to him. Mallon's through ball. That's beautiful. And Mark McNulty puts it in. There's the difference. 3-1 Dundee United. Surely this is going to be a good day at the office. We've got half an hour to go. We can't blow it from here. And we'll go and make some changes in a minute just to try and shore things up a little. You can see there, Duffy's absolutely shattered. So I'm going to replace him with Sporrell, the more defensive-minded winger. I'm tempted at right back to replace Matheson with Pearson. Just go really defensive. Maybe even Luke Bolton, I don't know. But for now, it's a team doing well. It's a team winning. So if everyone's fit, we'll keep them in the lineup. Thank you to everyone joining in as well. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't yet. It's lovely on the Tuesday nights. We tend to see more new faces on Tuesday and all the regulars on Sunday. It's quite a nice little balance we've got now. So Stevie Mallon's knackered. I am going to replace him with Matt O'Reilly. Pretty much like for like in terms of quality as well. And then Ray's on a yellow now. He's a bit tired. He hasn't played a full game for a while. I haven't got any youngsters on the bench though. And I haven't actually got another centre midfielder. So I don't think I can take him off. Finley's tired centre half. There's no way I'm changing one of them. McNulty's tired, but he's on a hat-trick. Oh, what do I do? Let's just not make it. There's no point making it for the sake of it. If we go 4-1 up, then I will take off somebody who needs a rest. As Glenn Ray picks it up to O'Reilly. 30 yards out. Ray's lost it. Don't get sent off. Don't get sent off. It's out to Moffat on the left. The last thing we want here is a grandstand finish. Ray can't keep up. Dennis in behind. And that's a good save from Segrist. Cleared away. Do you know what? Mitchell's had an average game. Let's replace him with Davis. It's the obvious change, isn't it? So let's just do it. Let's not worry about fatigue for the sake of 6 or 7 minutes. Because as it stands at the moment, this is the best position we could be in. Thank you to everyone getting involved. I'm just trying to get the chat up on my phone in unison as well. As Sporrell goes long downfield to Shankland. McNulty in behind. What I'd love now is an emphatic wing. McNulty nearly gets his hat-trick. It's behind for a corner kick. Let me catch up with the chat very quickly. Tom, probably not much in it between them and Leeds. Really? Why have you kept that a secret from me? I would have loved to have gone to a Farsley game when we were up before. We'll definitely have to do that next time. Druid, thanks for popping in. Mansfield signed George Lapsill today. Turned down 2 League One teams to join us. Oh, we said it. I mean, we did the podcast channel. We did We did a reaction when Nigel Clough got the job, and we all said they'd either be playoffs or not far away from it. Glenn Ray got his last minute goal. Lovely stuff to win 4-1. Can this be the turning point now? We've got a couple of, on paper, better games coming up as well. I just hope we can put pressure on. I mean, it'd be a miracle to finish third this year, given the season we've had. But we've had a longer rest. There's no Europe after Christmas because we failed. Maybe it's the point where it turns. And if we get Europa League 2 years in a row, the finances are huge. I mean, next up's Kilmarnock away. They're 11th. Dunfermline at home's the next league match who are 12th. And Hibs are a championship team in the cup. But yeah, I think I said that Mansfield would still be in the playoffs. They'll definitely be there or thereabouts. A fantastic manager. I mean, even the players we've interviewed on the podcast. We had like Mark O'Brien and Ben Pringle both played under him at Derby. I don't think, of all the interviews we've done, probably 60 or 70 over there, I don't think any pros have talked about their manager higher or more highly or more respectfully than the players who have played under Nigel Clough. It's just complete unison of he gives you his word, he trusts you, he respects you. He sort of has all the values of his old man and some of the classiness and tactical style of the people he's played under since. It's a crucial combination. So yeah, I think you'll be going places, to be honest. Just seen a new picture of Power Court. Looks amazing. It does, absolutely. We'd just love to see it. Fingers crossed it's not far away. It looks like it's going to start next year, doesn't it? Yeah. Jack Byrne, I was going to say that. I completely forgot. Signed for Apoel because Mick McCarthy was in charge and then McCarthy left a day later. You've got to feel for the lad because a couple of boys have gone over there for him. It's quite a worry if you're then tied down to a longer deal. Are Guiseley down as Farsley's rivals in FM? A lovely question, Tom. Let's have a look. Farsley Celtic. I presume Harrogate would be as well because not too long ago they were similar sizes. So Harrogate Railway are the local rivals and Guiseley are other local rivals. I'm just really surprised, Tom. I didn't know they were that close to you. I don't like that they've got one of those like badges made on Fiverr, but you know, it's still better than mine. But at least I made mine myself, so you know, it is what it is. I just noticed they were 8 unbeaten before that. We'll have to go and have a look at them because I hope they'll make some big moves in January because they're doing really well. Let's catch up with the chat quickly. Grassroots coach, welcome along. Lovely to have some more of the regulars in. Please do chuck a thumbs up if you haven't already. Lovely to see you along this Tuesday evening. Mansfield, yeah, by League 2 standards, they do have one of the bigger budgets. Absolutely. Cyprus, stunning country. Yeah, I guess the problem is, as I said, his countryman, he's gone because Mick McCarthy's in charge. It's a massive draw. And then for him to go a day or two later, you've got to worry. It's not the best run club, I would argue. But in terms of off the pitch, the amount of managers they go for, all of that stuff. Derby Bournemouth just started. West Ham, West Brom I've got on record as well, so I'll be catching up with that after this. And then it's the FA Cup tie, isn't it? The Shrewsbury one that got removed. Got moved because of the COVID tests. And obviously wishing Steve Cottrell a speedy recovery. Frightening news, really. But unfortunately, we've seen it. It just hits people of all ages at times. So fingers crossed he's all right and on the mend now. Let's get a look at these lads. We've got a game on Saturday. I think it's safe for me to put the under-18s in there. Because I don't think these lads are going to feature in this game. So all 4 of them can play 90 minutes. Malcolm may be on the bench, but I don't think so, to be honest. Oh, Matheson's injured again. It's happening quite a lot now. We have really been looking for a right back. Mark Reynolds is going. He is off to Blackpool for a couple of grand. He asked to leave. He wanted a new challenge. He accepted he wasn't good enough to play her anymore. We can't complain. I'm deliberately ignoring the offers for O'Reilly because we can get a lot better money for him. Let's have a look just to see if there's anyone we can get in as a right back or who they're recommending even. So there's some loan recommendations there. End of contract perhaps. There's a couple there. And then what about transfer? Because fullbacks are probably my biggest issues and wide midfield. It's just the wide areas. Maybe we have to change tactics. Stoke Rotherham. Yeah, I can't even remember what our predictions are tonight. I cannot remember any of them. Derby Bournemouth, I think I went 1-0 Bournemouth. I'm sure about that. I can't remember what I went for the other games. Just started my new European scouting role for Triestina. I'm loving it, especially during lockdown. Oh, that's brilliant. There's a Leicester City under-23s right back who is amazing. In the actual under-23s team. I'll have to go and have a look at that. So Perry and G, he's just gone to Cardiff in real life. He's someone that our scouts have been looking at a lot. He's 25, he's a good age, he's a solid right back. He's as good in the wing back role as Matheson. And he only wants, or they only want about $250,000, which for a side now playing in Europe is not too bad. In terms of potential free agents, we've got Gethin Jones, who's not quite good enough, and 26. We've got Nathan Thompson from Peterborough. Bit older, more of the centre-half attributes, so probably not him. And then Derikwa again is 30, and he's on a bigger wage, so not him either. Let's see if we can get a short-term loan. Kuto at right back, can't really tackle. What do they want wage-wise? All of it. That's not good. Nathan Patterson from Rangers in Scotland, but not quite so good. And Sessegnon, the Fulham right back. I'm not sure either. Hakeem Adoffin's popped up. We know him very well from our Dundee stint in the head coach. And Osman Kaikai, good player at QPR on a transfer list. I think of those, Perry and G's probably the man. So we'll make an inquiry. I just want to speak to the agent quickly. They're saying $6,500 a week. That's the sticking point. We can't afford that, I don't think. If we very quickly do the same at left back as well, because next season we're going to have a real problem there. I have been looking at a couple, but I don't know that they're the right ones. So we're going to go for Toffolo on a scout report. Probably the same for Andy Hughes as well. But for now, not an immediate issue, but that's one we'll keep an eye on too. So I went, I did go for Watford 2, Barnsley 0. I went for Coventry to nick a win at Reading because Reading rested their players in the cup and then their midweek game got called off. So their players coming back from injury have then had 2 weeks without playing again. I guess they have been training, so it could go either way. But based on Luton QPR last week, it's worrying. What else have we got on there? Rotherham 1, Stoke 1 I went for. Yeah, I thought I did. Because Stoke have been in poor form, actually. But a 1-1 draw again. It's the most likely result based on their recent results. Lawrence Shankland not happy. The fact that Mark Reynolds was let go. Okay. Let's see what he says. It doesn't have to be a big issue. Disappointed you felt it was necessary. He's a leader in a dressing room. Right, okay. I'm not going to say that I have faith in Lewis Nielsen to step up. I'm going to say I think he's not the only leader. Oh dear. I can't upset him. Maybe we've just got to sell him because he's clearly not got his head here. I think you're ignoring the fact we've got some great prospects ready to step up. Let's go for that. There you go. I think we've got some great hit kids here, so let's hope they come good. We've won him round eventually. Play youth players at centre-back, so I need to find a way to give Nielsen some games later in the season. Even if it is just off the bench initially. But in those training groups, we are working on it. We've still got people like... Matt O'Reilly I'll have to take out now. But we've still got Ray and Duffy in there, who are professional or resolute. I don't know what Burns' personality was. Ambitious. But otherwise, we've got good personalities working alongside young players with a balanced one. And I feel like that's the most we can do, in truth. So hopefully it'll have a positive effect. But if we can back up the air result with a win against Kilmarnock, let's not worry so much about the cup, but then can beat Dunfermline as well. Put together 3 league games in a bounce. I'd start to feel a little bit better. Of course, on deadline day off camera, I can go a little bit mad if we need to. I don't think we will, though. I think it's just about getting through the season. Thank you to everyone popping in as well. Lovely to have you all here this evening. I do appreciate you joining in and making the chat active as always. It's always good fun seeing different faces about. And hopefully you're helping a bit of a recovery here. There was a left back we were looking at, Greg Taylor from Celtic. He's gone to Forest for $1 million. We just can't compete. Mockery's developing well. Personality's improving. Quality going up. He's only 18. He's going to be a big one. So who should be the captain? Can I give it to Shankland, really? The way he's been behaving. I don't think I can. I'm going to give it to Glenn Ray. I know what he can do from Luton Town. And then I'll make Shankland the vice-captain, I think. Or do I leave Siegrist? I'll leave Siegrist there. There is no point putting Shankland in a role where he's causing trouble off the pitch already. I know he's one of the leaders at the club now, but so Siegrist. Glenn Ray will work his way up by getting that role. It's just a little bit frustrating, to be honest. There's a lot of things this season, a lot of bitty things that have become an issue that I never expected to be. So let's go and put in a bid for NG because they've rejected our inquiry. We'll remove and exclude all of these sell-on clauses. And let's see what we can get going. So if we can get that down to maybe 210. Oh, we're not doing a per league appearance. Absolutely not. We'll add on 50 there. And we'll add on 5 there. See what happens. We're just working it up. There we go. 215,000 with a 50 grand after 10 league games. Or after 50 league games, sorry. I think that's a pretty good offer. It's just what he wants contractually. Because if we have a look at our players, particularly in terms of permanence, none earning more than 3,800 and the loan players only earning up to 4.5. To then give this kid 5.5 grand a week would not be suitable. So let's see what he actually wants. It's too much. It's too much, I'm afraid. And this is the problem we're encountering, and we can't make that step up as a result. I have to limit it at 4 grand. We cannot go higher than that. And he's never going to accept this deal. Because the agent fee is going to be capped as well, and he'll just walk away because he's worried about himself. It's not good, is it? Because we can't then just pay out a massive signing on fee. We can't pay 2 grand a week an appearance fee. Because that's then 6 grand or 8 grand a week. So we'll have to walk away. We're getting outpriced for the next level of signings. And we're getting stuck in a rut with the current quality. So maybe it is loan deals we rely on. Like Edmondson from Leeds there. Players that are on that lower wage looking to step up. He could be a good signing from Rangers because he's versatile. There's a lot of sticking points here. There's a lot of things that have got me thinking. And that's not something we had to worry about in the first year. So Edmondson's potentially a good addition. I'm going to scout him. And I'm going to put in a bid for him. Because I think he could be my answer. But I'm not going to commit to that just yet. Thank you to everyone who's here this evening as well. Lovely to have so many of you in. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already as we head into the Kilmarnock game tomorrow. A chance for us to really extend this recovery. And it would be 3 unbeaten in all competitions, albeit a disappointing draw in the Cup. A good win at Ayr, and if we could win away at Kilmarnock as well, just get a little bit of confidence building. I've kept an eye on the scout reports for players that are out of contract this year. Nothing really improving from that. So let's see what's recommended today. Matheson is out. There's a few players tired as well. Ray, Byrne. Duffy's not going to do 90 either. So we're going to have to rotate quite a lot. Right back and... I don't know. Who can we play? I'm going to have to start Duffy and play Bolton behind him. I mean, the likes of Byrne and Ray, they're not even match fit. It's just the fact that they've got an overall risk of injury because they haven't played for a while and then they've done 90 minutes. In midfield, I'll have to go back to O'Reilly and Mallon, but O'Reilly's clearly distracted. Fuchs on international duty still, of course. And then I'm going to have to put 3 of the youngsters on the bench, despite the fact that they've all played in the under-18s and are not match fit. So it's not an ideal lineup for this one. Finley's tired as well. I don't know if I've got the vigour to replace him, because for this game, it's so important. And maybe next time we go for Pearson in the Cup instead. So that's the lineup I'm going to go for. Shankland and McNulty are fit, and we need them amongst the goals. Let's see if they can be. That's going to be the important thing today, as we tell the lads to pick up where they left off. It's been a good performance so far. We just need the recovery to continue, because if we start dropping again, and it's probably been the story of the season, we've not really had 2 or 3 games in a row where we've done well. It's been 1 or 2 good ones, 1 or 2 poor ones. Though we've got an early lead there. McNulty from the corner is an unstoppable force, and we're going to need him again next year, because it's big trouble if we don't keep him. It's been a brilliant addition to the squad. Both seasons he's come in. And if Shankland does go or continues to play like this and we cash in, we're going to need McNulty because we might have to go one up front. As Mallon's got a corner again. Can we keep doing damage from set pieces? Finley loses out in the air, but it looks like Tyreek Mitchell's going to get there first. Out to Duffy on the right-hand side. Time on the ball, loses out to Waters. That's fatigue. It really is, but we've got no other options. Zanzala skinned his man on the wing. Goes down the lines, forced backwards eventually. It's all a little bit easy on the ball though. There's the ball to Zanzala. It's a good save, Siegrist. Finley clears, but all from Duffy being tired and giving it away. A quick plug while we're here as well for today's Bangor City episode. A very unusual thing occurred in there. In addition to the European adventure, there was a bizarre moment as Alan Power scored a brilliant free kick. It's 1-1. We're so leaky at the back. We're so leaky. Finley's got a yellow. He's tired as well. We're just running out of legs, running out of players. It's a big problem for the season. And it's a free kick deep in their own half for Kilmarnock. Wright's got the ball to take it, the keeper. And it's given away to O'Reilly, to McNulty. Shankland's running off him. Got to put him in. He finds Mallon to Shankland. Back into O'Reilly. He's 1-on-1. And Matt O'Reilly scores. We regain the lead already. Shankland turns provider. I don't mind that. It's a sign of confidence still. And for O'Reilly, who's been distracted by interest, who's been in poor form, that's potentially a very big goal. As Mallon nicks it again. Shankland released down the right-hand side. Cuts it back to Luke Bolton, deputising at right back. Into O'Reilly. Over the top to McNulty. He's in again. Must score. Oh, he's hit the post. Medley clears it for a throw-in. Very unfortunate. But what an effort. Vontae Daly-Campbell is in the name. Oh, he's a good player. Yeah, he's a very good player. I had him a couple of years ago. Might have been Torquay. I don't think it was, though. I think it might have been in the head coach. I had him somewhere. And he was a good player for me. As McNulty picks it up left side again. Gives it away. Spurrell gets there the second time. To O'Reilly. Crosses into Shankland. There's his goal. He's back now. Surely he's back now. That's 5 goals in 4 games. You've got to argue he's back in form. His contract runs out June 2021 in real life. I'm going to say this now, based on the relationship that Luton have with Leicester and that Nathan Jones has with Brendan Rodgers. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up at Luton. If he doesn't get a new contract at Leicester. So, I'm not going to make bold predictions, but now you've rejigged the name in my memory, don't be surprised if he's at Luton next season. It's just whether a bigger club comes in to give him a chance or Leicester offer him a deal. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't be shocked. He's our sort of player. And a Leicester sort of player, in fairness, as James Justin was. As Zanzala gets it into Power. A good start to the half from Kilmarnock, possession-wise, but no real threat. O'Reilly loses that challenge, though, and it's into Brophy. Another player we've looked at multiple times, and he's laid in Liam Kelly, who scored a screamer. And that's something that seems to have happened a lot more this year as well. We're conceding 25, 30-yard goals. Now, whether that's just because our players are more tired, they're struggling physically, I don't know. But it has become a regular occurrence. So in defence, I'm going to bring Matty Pearson on for Finley on a yellow and struggling. Duffy's knackered. We'll bring on Logan Chalmers. And he can be an inverted winger on support. And then Mallon's knackered as well. And he'll be replaced by Mockery. O'Reilly going box to box. Mockery's starting to become part of the first team squad now. It's not just he's a youngster we'll throw on. He's good enough to be a solid backup. We've got a warning to close down Brophy, but it's probably a bit too late here. Solly plays a 1-2, crosses to Zanzala, and he heads just over the bar. Mengi loses out, another one who's shattered. And it's all a bit clingy-on-y here. 10 minutes to go. We will drop to balanced, but we'll wait till after the highlight, as Siegrist clears it long down the left. Solly wins it from McNulty, finds Mayer, switches it forward. O'Reilly wins it back. Mockery brings it down. Can he find that through ball to McNulty? He can. Back to O'Reilly, to Shankland. Man over on the right in Chalmers. Wants to cut in on that left foot, but loses out to Zanzala and is cleared downfield. This is where the trouble comes. O'Reilly back to Mockery. Into Shankland up front. Just give us the 4th goal, please. We're so susceptible at the back. We have to score a hatful to win. And now we've got our strikers back in form to do it. Mockery to Bolton. Go forward. Chalmers. Shankland. Chalmers. No one wants to take the gamble. There's McNulty, and he does make it 4. We drop to balanced. We're going to time waste. And we're just going to try and see it out. Because for me, It's all about getting points on the board now. We'll be more disciplined. We'll hold our shape. We'll slow it down. In fact, we'll still counter when we win it back. But 4-2 with 9 to go, I hope that's enough. I really do. Goal Reading, Craig. There you go. The 2 weeks training has helped them, not hindered them. But it's, as you said, I think it was that fixture you said it on, wasn't it? Both teams didn't play at the weekend. It's a stab in the dark. And that's the problem. You don't know. You have absolutely no idea how 2 teams are going to react when they've not played for ages. They've had loads of players that couldn't play, or they've been affected by teams that couldn't play but have trained, and you're trying to compare it. It's impossible. So we do win against Kilmarnock despite more problems defensively. Mark McNulty is an absolute hero still. We're going to try and extend the loan, but again, they won't let us. They said this last time. Maybe do we go for it anyway and just see what they say? End of the season would be May 22. So it doesn't actually extend the loan, does it? I don't know when his current one runs out. Yeah, not till May. So it doesn't make any difference. There's no point us trying yet. Carl Darlow's popped up in our scout reports. We're on 30 grand a week. We can't afford that. But there are signs that we're just starting to find form. Maybe that mid-season break did help. Just maybe there's positives around the corner. Maybe we can have a go at the Cup. Who knows? We might be out of it in 4 days. But either way. Has anyone mentioned in the chat that the Vanarama National League could be made null and void this week? There will certainly be a podcast on it if it happens. But I'm hoping it won't. I'm really hoping it won't. But we all said this. We said this in the podcast last year when all the non-leagues were made null and void. Is there won't be enough time to play a full season next year. Why didn't they just pause it indefinitely when there was a chance to play games? Because look at now. They've played between, 10 and 15 games? And based on that, that would have been what was missing last season. And you could have had one proper season over 2 seasons. Instead of all of these stop-start, meaningless games. It frustrates me because it was so inevitable from a health point of view. Right, I'm not going to put these guys in the reserves because we need to keep everyone fit that we've got. We're going to attend a meeting and see what they think we need. They think we need a deep line playmaker because they think we're going to lose O'Reilly. Oh, I do worry. I'm just going to go to the scouting centre because there's going to be no help in this meeting. Kieran Freeman to Stoke. He's on loan at Coventry from us, I think. Yeah, he is. But he's 2-star ability. He's not got massive potential. I don't see why there's such a big fuss about him, but we'll let him go to Stoke. That's not a problem. Let's have a look at the scout reports. I've got them on the ones that are out of contract in 6 months. And all of the ones that you can see the wages are in a different stratosphere. Bar Luke Berry, who's a number 10, doesn't really suit our tactic at the minute. Reece Burke, a centre-half, potentially a good option. But again, right at the top end of the wage bill. And a lot of the others are a bit older. Jacob Davenport's potentially an option. Again, more naturally a defensive midfielder. It's just, I just don't know what to do here. I'm in a little bit of a catch-22 with Dundee United. I find it quite difficult. Well, the problem is with the COVID protocols, it only takes one person to break it for there to be a domino effect on 30 or 40 people. That's the problem. Because if by the time... And that's why we see the delays with the Championship. If it happens to one person and they've trained with 5, they'll test positive a week later after they've played a game and passed it on to another club and so on and so forth. And that's why we end up in these cycles, unfortunately. But it is what it is. L Gaming, good evening, welcome along. Thank you for popping in as always. Getting excited for the Wrexham takeover. I just hope it's not met with the same news that the season's ending, but fingers crossed it's a positive story. And as we said, there's a lot of big games there, so we hope that some will be making their way back. Scottish Gamers, are you sacked yet? No, we've got a sign of recovery. We've won 2 league games in a row after being held by Championship Hibernian in the Cup. And we've got Hibernian away in the replay, and then bottom of the league, Dunfermline at home. So there's a sign that things are on the up. But it was a desperate ploy, sending everyone away for 2 weeks in the mid-season break. Not done any trading, not done anything else. Edmonton's only rated 2.5 by our scouts, so there's no point putting him in ahead of Malcolm. We'll cancel that then. I thought he'd be better than that. 22 minutes in, Bournemouth poor so far, Craig. I didn't think they'd be brilliant. I think a 1-0 win might be the best bet. L Gaming, what did you miss? So we came in crisis mode. We lost our last 3 games before the mid-season break with a 6-3 and a 6-4 defeat, a 6-3 and a 4-3 defeat included. Shankland's back amongst the goals at last. We sent everyone away on holiday for 2 weeks in the winter break, and we're just starting to see a slight turn in form. So I'm hoping that's a positive. Look at this lad. He had big injury problems, didn't he? Broke his leg after being the star of last year's youth intake. He's got no potential now. It's such a shame. Woodyard's got a contract offer. That's a positive as well. There's lots of players coming up to Scotland, which is a good thing to see. Scottish Gamers, how are Hearts doing? They were 4th in the Championship. Hibs were top. Inverness up there in the title race. And the rest were a bit further behind. I'll go and have a quick look at the Championship again now, just so you can see. Yeah, so still in 4th place. 32 points with Falkirk, 35 Partick Thistle. So essentially it's 2 from 3 from the other playoff places there. And then Hibs or Inverness for the title. But of course, Hibs could cause us some more troubles yet. I'm surprised Nisbet still kept that value in the Scottish Championship, but it is what it is. The problem is, grassroots coach, is the games are getting postponed too late, and it's then causing a knock-on effect. But it's not a problem that's going to be resolved, I can assure you of that. Yeah, it spreads like wildfire, exactly. And you've got to worry about the clubs that are doing it properly, because even though... Again, don't forget, those players who are positive at the club, it's all good saying we'll field their under-23s or whatever. Like they're reserve players that are fit. But if they've been involved in first-team training, particularly at clubs like Luton, for example, that training ground is only Z big. It's not going to have a big separate zone for under-23s and that like some grounds do. In those situations, there's every risk that the under-23s might have it, or that the coach might have it, or that there's some sort of crossover. Jake, evening. Thank you for popping in. Lovely to have the regulars in as always. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it. I'll check the English leagues in a bit to see how others are getting on. I don't think the 3-0 automatic win works because a lot of teams it won't be their fault. So like, let me take Luton's example. Bristol City had positive cases. The EFL told them to play the game against Luton, and then Luton had to cancel their next game because of positive cases. And it's that sort of knock-on effect that's the problem. Man U are top time to null and void. It would be quite funny after last year with the Liverpool situation that then United fans are the ones calling for it. Not to stop the count. We're not getting that out again. Right, let's have a look at the English leagues quickly. English Premier Division, United holders first season. Liverpool top this season. United down to 6th after winning it. That's bizarre. Who did they keep or lose? I saw they signed Camavinga for 80-odd million. They lost. Any big names? Donny van der Beek went to China at 24. Okay. Twanzebe, 15 million to Arsenal. Don't think they'd be selling him there. McTominay, 15 million. They've all gone to France. McTominay. Phil Jones has gone to France. Andreas Pereira's gone to France. Odd. Jesse Lingard's gone to Saudi Arabia. Jared Bowen in for 20 million. Manchester United. Wow. I guess I would say the players they've bought in aren't quite the same standard as the ones they let go. In my opinion. But there you go. Championship. Luton still surviving. That's good to see. Any big names coming in? Dennis Sirkin on loan. We had him in FM20 at Cliftonville. Liam Boyce from Hearts talking to Scottish League strikers. Not really anyone leaving the club. League One. Not much excitement there. Sunderland near the bottom yet again. Coventry and Sheffield Wednesday look like they're going straight back up. League Two. I don't see any massive surprises, bar Port Vale perhaps being right in there. National League, Wrexham are... Where are Wrexham? Have I missed them? Did they not go up? Maybe they went up. Can somebody help me out here? Did they go down? Wrexham went down, Gaming. They're in the National League North. They're third in the National League North. Wow. Yeah, the top 4 leagues will survive and they'll work all right because of the way things are. The National League and National League North and South are now paying for the fact that they wanted to be elite to complete their seasons last year. That's the issue. Scottish Gamers, United are top. Oh, sorry, I've missed that one. I'm well behind there. United weren't playing like a top of the league team either. They have at times. On the road, they've been very good. Just at home, they've struggled a lot. I thought both teams were poor, Craig. I don't think Liverpool or United did much. What's our club vision? We've got to qualify for the Europa League, finish third. Massive downgrade, the guy who went to Arsenal. Yeah. Well, in-game it is. In-game it is, because Arsenal weren't top 4. Yeah, but that's my point, Grassroots Coach. It's not Luton's fault. Give Luton a 3-0 win against them, which is fine. But then we'd have to give QPR the 3 points because we can't fulfil that game. And then QPR, who can't fulfil the game after that if they've played against us, they can't then fulfil their game. They have to give the 3-0 to the next team. You just end up with the whole league being given on 3-0 wins. They either don't go ahead with it or act earlier in my book, which hopefully with the regular testing twice a week now, these things will be prevented at least. Jake Giff said the same as me. Both sides were poor. Yeah, Henderson and Fabinho centre half. And I said, that's why I said Liverpool would struggle this year, because they're not going to be able to replace them in this window. Sorry, Gaming, I've left that on the screen for ages for you to see that Wrexham are struggling in the National League North. So, cup time. Ray and Byrne can come back in, and we've got to rest people. Look how many have got heavy legs there. So, let's just give up the cup. We have to finish third in the league. Segrist in, anyone with a heavy match load is not going to play. Matheson's tired anyway, so he'll be out as well. And if it means a poor team, so be it. So, Leif Davis in at left back. Centre half, Matty Pearson and Nielsen, I think. Right back, Luke Bolton will have to cover again. Ray in midfield. Byrne in midfield. Chalmers in midfield and Mockery in midfield. And then up front, I'm going to leave Shankland out of this one. I'm going to play Morris and Malcolm. On the bench, we'll have Fotheringham. We'll have Shankland because they've got lower match loads. And is there anyone else there who's not heavy? Eastwood's got to be on the bench anyway. Matheson I'm not going to put there. So we'll just play some of the least important players. So Sporrell. There's not many others really, are there? I've got to have some defensive players on the bench. So we'll have to go for the likes of Mitchell and Mengi, the lone players. And then probably an attacking winger or something. Maybe even a centre mid. We haven't really got a centre midfielder. So I'll have to go O'Reilly, I think. But that's the lineup. We'll try not to use the tired ones. It's 9 changes, and we just hope we can sneak through, quite frankly. Okay, yeah, you're thrilled to see that. Alisson made 2 crucial saves. United weren't great either. No, that's it. And that's probably, Craig, I mean, going back to our podcast, that's the whole reason it started, wasn't it? There's so many games in the Premier League where financially or whatever, that both sides are too scared to lose. And we see it at the other end of the table as well. City will win it at Canter, in my opinion. I said the same. City will win it now. I said on Sunday, I think, I'll be surprised if they lose more than 1 game between now and the end of the year. Now they've got players back fit. They've found their centre-half partnership. They've got their midfielders back in midfield. They've got strikers getting back to fitness. They'll be absolutely fine now. And Ferran Torres has been a nice surprise for them too. Liverpool, it's not if Liverpool slip up. Liverpool have already slipped up. I don't think they'll make it back to City now. Craig, hold on, you're getting a sack. There was a risk at the start. This cup game might cause a trouble because we're expected to get to the semi-final and we've had to rest everyone. But otherwise, league-wise, we've just got to finish third. It looks like we're starting to recover. I say that as a penalty is being given away. Matty Pearson this season has become a liability here. And this penalty is going to go in from Nisbet. He's a very reliable customer. And it's 1-0 to Hibs. oh dear, is what I would like to say. I just wish we could sign him. Okay, I mean, how many goals United score? That pens. I'm not getting involved in that one. Derby should be ahead against Bournemouth. Well, they've been playing better, haven't they? We've said it for a while, bar the last performance, obviously. Why can't they put players into hotel accommodation during the week like they did in the Bundesliga? Because the UK's not as prepared as Germany, is quite frankly the answer. We're now 2 down and getting outclassed, so I think the cup runs over. And it's a matter of enjoying the ride today now. But against second tier opposition, it's got to be a worry. Goal Derby, there you go. Well, yeah, I guess that's the thing, leaving the families to May. I guess with the Bundesliga at the end of last season, it was 2 months, wasn't it? But the Bundesliga was much more structured. I don't think the solution that's in place now is wrong with the regular testing. I just think that the actions need to be quicker after positive tests. Rather than waiting for it to be too many players you can't fulfill a fixture, just nip it in the bud. As Finn Malcolm gets in, rattles the crossbar. And he's out to Burn 25 yards out to Mockery. Into Ray. Out to Burn on the right. We need a goal back before half time, otherwise we're out of this tie. And Mockery gives it to Burn again. It's a poor ball, but it finds Chalmers somehow. And here's Mockery out to Davis, overlapping. And the highlight just ends. What on earth's that all about? I'm going to have to scout Nisbet again, I'm sorry, because he's absolutely class here. Is there any way we can get him for less money? Do we spend the budget on him and have him with Shankland and McNulty next year? But are we going to be playing one up front? You don't know at that point. As Glenray gets it again in the middle. Back to Pearson in the centre circle. Over the top towards Morris. Loses out in the air, but it falls for Burn on the right-hand side. Back to Luke Bolton. Tries to cross. It's poor. It's blocked. And it's cleared. And now they've got the counter on. Taylor brings it forward. There's a 3-on-3 ahead. Ojo's told it up. And that means we've got a little bit of time to get back. As Taylor gets up to Nisbet again. He finds a Poku. Left-hand side. And now Taylor. Back to Hanlon. Over the top to Taylor. It's so easy for Hibs. We're playing against second-tier opposition and they're embarrassing us. Though Malcolm's nicked it. Now we can score. Morris has got to go in. Malcolm goes alone. 1-on-1. Finn Malcolm scores. And there we go. On the stroke of half-time, we've got ourselves in the tie. Fingers crossed we can go. Let's keep up. El Game is sacked in the morning. It might not be too far off there. 1 thumbs up away from double figures. Thank you all for your support. Please do chuck one on there if you haven't yet. The rules are so strange. My team Sunderland had a game we had to play with 6 out due to isolating. But then more players in that Sunderland team tested positive after the game who would have had the virus before they played. They've passed it on to another team. Your next 2 games have got postponed and there's the knock-on effect. So if you cancel the 2 games from before then when the first 6 are positive, you don't pass it on to another team. Grassroots coach. Work my job at home and work the dog. Yeah, I kind of get that approach. And I do see both sides of it. But I guess from an NHS point of view, we're not going to get away with that. And, you know, there's a risk with carrying on football. Let's be honest. If we're talking realistically in terms of the rules, football isn't an essential workforce and it shouldn't be carrying on at all. They've been given an opportunity, but then there has to be the process in place. As Morris gets in, it's 2-2. Maybe it's not sacked in the morning, El Gaming. Maybe we're going to survive this. Fingers crossed, we're about to find something here. Because we've got back on terms. We went positive and we've started to get on the front foot. The manager's chair is sinking. And if we get through and get the prize money, might be able to afford a new one. As Deutsch picks it up on halfway to Ojo. Into the box to Taylor. The problem is they still look great in possession and they still look a big threat going forward. Oh, keeper. He's about the only first teamer we've got in the squad here today. And he has just come flying out and left an open goal for Deutsch. He was never getting there. And just as we got back on terms, 1 step forward, 6 steps back again. Hibs back in the lead and we're going out the cup. So let's bring on the cavalry. Oh, I'm getting frustrated again. Who can we bring on? So Fotheringham's going to come on the left for Chalmers. Shankland will come on up front. I don't know who to take off though. Maybe Burn. Although he's one of the better rated players, to be honest. I'm going to bring O'Reilly on for Mockery, I think. In fact, no, let's leave the last two a few more minutes. We will bring on another centre forward. Finn Malcolm's starting to tire, so it could be Shankland for him. As the ball's in, and there's no point now. Because it's 4-2, it is tie over. Big problems. Shankland will come on for Malcolm just to try and get us a goal. But I think we're in big trouble. Pearson, 6.2, he's been awful. He really has. And we're in a bit of trouble. It's straight back to square one again. Ray gets the ball out to Fotheringham. We got back to 2-2. And then to produce this for the next 15 minutes, it's bordering on absurd. And Mockery picks it up on the left-hand side. He wins it back, but that's about it. And I don't really know what to say about this team. We have just become the most fragile, awful team in a matter of minutes. O'Reilly's going to come on for Mockery for the last 10 because he's knackered. It's such a problem. Yeah, Gaming, you're spot on there. Sacked in the game is back on. Sacked in the morning is back on. Thank you for the thumbs up as well. Well into double figures now. Much appreciated. A big Banger City episode today. A big one from Hibernian tomorrow. A dramatic one in the head coach. You're joking. Another penalty. 2 in the same game. Nisbet has got his hat trick. Oh dear. What on earth is going on back here? It was all starting to look up and now we've shipped 5. Davis gets the throwing down the left. There's nobody there. Morris wins it back. Fernandez goes long and Nielsen heads it away. I'm going to go to balanced. We might as well just prevent conceding a 6th here. But I don't know where this is coming from. Ray picks it up in the middle. Out to the right hand side to Byrne. Byrne gets the crossing. Shankland can't get there. Byrne picks it up again. It'd be nice if we could keep Shankland's goal scoring run going. It's out to Fotheringham on the left. Into Morris. Head's just wide. Oh dear. They've had 10 shots on target. 2 of them penalties, which would be nearly 2 on expected goals. Aside from that, their expected goals is less than 1. And they've managed to get 3 other goals. It happens every time. And I think that's perhaps the difference with this team. With this season, you're relying on a squad a lot more. And our backup team isn't good enough to compete every week at this level. So that's probably the next thing. So Darren Watson has scored another hat-trick whilst out on loan. Do we recall him? He can play right wing as well. But is he going to benefit more from staying at Ayr for the season? I think we have to keep him there for the year because then he'll be ready to be a star next season. Hopefully that's the plan. Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's the length of time doing it for the season with 5 or 6 months. And it's not just that. It's then that most of them are then away at the Euros for 6 weeks as well. So, and then you're back to the new season. But we've just got to get through this season because after that, the vaccination programme should be rolled out completely and fingers crossed at least for a few months. That's a bit of protection then. Toffolo wants too much money. Hughes wants to be a top earner and he's not good enough. But after all of our problems, the most crucial thing as we finish this episode will be winning the last game at home to Dunfermline. That is the thing that's going to decide me. Fingers crossed we can't lose at home to the bottom side. I'll show it on camera just so you can see the disaster if it happens. Let's use the suggested squad. That makes more sense because it's going to be the first team. We'll get through the pre-match press conference very, very quickly. And the final game of the evening will be at home to bottom side Dunfermline as we try to keep our Premiership form up if nothing else. Let's catch up. Jed and Keaty, welcome along. Thanks for popping in. Lovely to see you all in as well. The viewers up to a record high for the stream so far. Thank you for all coming in. Please do chuck a thumbs up if you haven't yet. Come and get involved in the chat if your team's playing at the minute. So you've suggested a little formation tinker. I did try it in one of the games away at Rangers. Or was it home to Rangers? Against Rangers, whichever game it was. I played with 3 in midfield to try and shore us up a bit, and we lost 6-3. So that was the end of that experiment. Then at home to Motherwell, when we were... I can't remember what score it was. It was when we got back to 3-3. I then went to balanced. I changed the roles a lot within the duties and put a number 10 in instead of a second striker. We're still letting a fourth. It's a weird season. We've not been able to keep everyone fit. We've not been able to keep people sharp and playing at their best. We've picked up so many little muscle knocks because of the extra games. We haven't got the quality in the backup of the squad. We're still trying to bring through 4 or 5 youngsters into the first team. Just all those things added up, they are going to lead to inconsistency, aren't they? We've got to just be honest and accept it, I think. So here we are against the bottom side. Let's see what lineup the assistant went for. So I've got no idea why some of the people he's got off the bench aren't on it. I mean, I kind of get the concept with Pearson, but we're going to do it anyway. Bolton will go on the bench for Fotheringham. Malcolm off the bench for Glen Ray. And we've still got Fuchs back from duty, but we're going to give him a week because he's been away in Africa playing. And Burn on for Eastwood as the sub-keeper. So let's look at the 11. Sporrell is probably not the best option. So I'm going to go with Luke Bolton, who's got a lower match load in recent weeks. I'm tempted to play Burn on the left ahead of Duffy because he's been better, but I don't think that helps us at this point. The match load for most of the others is still heavy despite us having the weeks off. I don't quite get how most of them have played 3 matches in the last 14 days. Because none of them played in the first, or some of them didn't play in the first cup game, so I don't really know. I think we're just going to stick with that. It's as good as I can do at the moment. So it's Dundee United v Dunfermline, and surely we can get a win against the basement side in the league. They must be worse than the Hibs team we played. Stoke rumoured to be in talks with Sam Cosgrove from Aberdeen. He's a Michael O'Neill type, a proper target man. He's probably there to play all the games where Sam Vokes is out injured, to be honest, in the same role. Jed and Keating, maybe not then. Yeah, absolutely. I've tried everything. We've just had a rainstorm. It's smashing the window now. Wasn't even raining earlier. Don't feel too bad. Gasparini got sacked by Inter after 5 games. Look at him now. Absolutely. The problem with Dundee United, it being our first job with no reputation, is the rebuild is going to be massive. Like, we'll have to start from probably semi-pro or non-league level. Yeah, and that's the thing. For the footballers not following the rules, it's a shame, but it's causing a lot of problems. But many of those who are following the rules are then affected by those few, and they shouldn't suffer because they're trying to do it properly. And there's a lot of footballers doing good. We have to remember that. As Mengi gets in from the corner. Oh, he's missed a sitter. Oh, that's not the end we wanted. The last thing we want is to start struggling in front of goal again when we're conceding 2 or 3 a game. Because the only shot on target has been Dunfermline. And we've got a chance with Mitchell. Can we get in the lead? McNulty into the box. He's got to score. Laid it to Bolton. He's scored 20 goals this season. And for some reason, he didn't want to shoot with 1-on-1 v the keeper from 6 yards. As Matheson finds Shankland. Loses the ball in the middle. It falls from McManus. And back to O'Hara. He's kept it in the middle quite well there. And he's back to Turner. This could be a disastrous end to the episode. I've got a sneaky suspicion. McManus gets it into O'Hara again. Oh, it's just wide. We're going to try and fire him up. It's so inconsistent. And that's the thing. It's not just that we've been awful. It's not just that we're not scoring goals or we're conceding too many. There have been some games this season, like that Air game away, where you think, right, we're back now. And then it just goes again. It's the inconsistency that gets you. As Mallon finds Shankland, can we at least get in front here? Bolton gets it. There's 2 in the box. McNulty's one, Shankland the other. Goes back to Bolton. Overhit the second cross. And Duffy gets there on the left side. Back to Tyrick Mitchell. Duffy again on the edge of the box. Loses it again. So sloppy, so sluggish. Finley recycles it to Mitchell. Into Mallon in the centre circle. Acres of space out to Bolton. And he can run at the fullbacks again. Better delivery or back to Matheson into McNulty. The keeper misses it. McNulty doesn't. 1-0 Dundee United. Big goal. We have to make it count. We have to get 3 points. Craig, goal West Ham. Oh dear. That must be right at the end of the half. Thank you to everyone joining in as well. Lovely to have so many of you here at the end of the evening. There's a full replay in the eye above. There's a full replay on the channel, afterwards, if you missed any of the action. But thank you for spending your Tuesday evening with me. I hope you're still enjoying the Bangor and head coach series as well. I mean, looking back at last year, by this point, when the episodes were coming out, we were getting 50 views a day. And now we're at 250, 300. It's just remarkable. So thank you for your continued support. It wasn't just a big boost for the new game. It's continued throughout. We're still gaining sort of 30, 40, 50 subscribers a week. It's still growing immensely. So thank you all for sharing, for telling your friends, telling your family, getting involved. And it all does mean a lot. It's lovely to see so many new faces, all the old regulars as well. So that bit's greatly appreciated. I have got to say that. Particularly, at the moment, I know it's very hard work doing it on top of a full-time job in the current circumstances, but it's a bit of a light relief to come and do this after a day of COVID vaccination centres and GP surgeries and all that stuff. It's just nice to come back and do a day like this, to do something nice and light-hearted. Oh, don't get me started on fan TVs. It's something we have as a podcast. Quite a lot of the fan TV channels come and get involved in the comments of our videos. And they're so... I don't know a way to describe it other than TalkSport-ish. Like, it's all about the clickbait. It's all about the headline. And it's not really us. We just want to have a sensible discussion about football. We know not everyone likes it. But, you know, we've had people who have been shouting for their manager to be out and 2 weeks later say they look like the best thing since sliced bread. And you've got to have a little bit of balance. That's what we try to do as a podcast. It means we've grown more slowly. But some of the fan TVs, there's just not balance. And it reflects the world really, doesn't it? There's so many areas of the world now where there isn't balance. It's either you've got to be left or right. You've got to be high or low. You've got to be this or this. You can't be just somewhere between the two. Not everything has to be extreme in everyone's life. And that's the thing that I find the hardest. Because I'm quite a chilled, laid-back person. And it's always someone's demanding this because they think they must have this. And the other person wants the opposite. But just compromise and find somewhere near the middle. Do you know what I mean? For me, that's never been a hard concept, but for some, unfortunately, it is. Gaming, not like all these subs aren't deserved. You worked hard and deserved them. I do appreciate it. But, you know, it's not just a given that would happen. Yeah, they say Sky Sports is bad, but then they've become it because that's what they're watching to get frustrated at, to then react to. Whereas for us, we try to avoid that sort of thing. But, I don't know. I don't know the easy way to solve it. That's the unfortunate thing. I'm going to bring on Chalmers for the last 10. Get one of the youngsters on. It looks like we have wrapped this up now with McNulty. 3 goals. Shankland's not scored again. Perhaps that's the only thing we could do with late on here. But otherwise, it's been a comfortable performance. And that's all we can ask for. Toxic turds. That's a good expression for them, actually. And the same as here. Like, we've just had a debate for 20 minutes. But some of those people, if you were doing it on social media, they would say after 5, well, I don't agree with you, so you must be wrong, and followed by a million expletives. Or they'll call you this political person or this whatever. Just have a debate, and if you don't get to the end of it, agree to disagree. It doesn't matter. We can all have different views, do you know what I mean? Craig, yeah, spot on. We're getting close to 1,000 on the podcast. We've gone from 150 to around 800, so if you can and you haven't yet, please do check it out. Please do chuck a subscribe on. Because it does make a difference to us. Even if you just subscribe and don't watch it just from going over here, it does still make a difference. Because ironically over there, we've got a viewership, or we've always had the viewership in the last 6 to 8 months, of a channel that's this size, like 2,000 people. We still get on the championship predictions, 250, 300 every single match day. We just haven't got the subscribers because it's not that type of content. So if you can go over and click subscribe, it does make a difference. So thank you to anyone who can, who does, or who already has. And maybe at some point we'll interview someone from a club you support and there'll be a few to get excited about. Grassroots coach, one can analyse critically and that's their right to, not shouting. Exactly, and people can disagree. Yeah, and that's it. You can tell who hasn't watched matches, who doesn't regularly. The thing I would say is that every fan base has a few of them. McNulty's got another goal. It's a shame it wasn't Shankland, really. But every fan base has a few, and most fans are sensible. They're just not the ones that are on social media most of the time. I'm not going to comment on Arsenal Fan TV because it's one that winds me up a bit. And it's almost become a meme, hasn't it? They've sort of play up to it now. It's not a fan TV channel as such. But it is what it is, and people watch it, so why would they stop? It's making them a living. And unless people stop watching it, that will never change. But, you know, good luck to them. They're doing their best. They're enjoying it. L Gaming, Neil Ashton's the one I'm waiting for. So Matthew Tipton is out tonight. I've just edited that one. So Neil Ashton, I'll be starting to edit over this week. Unfortunately, I'm working every day this week, so it's a bit harder. But we'll get through it, and it'll be out in the next couple of weeks for sure. Well, that's it. At least he watches the Arsenal games, the academy. There's knowledge there. There are some that don't have that even. But a good finish to the day. 4 goals for McNulty. A win against Dunfermline. We're still 8 points off Hamilton with the game in hand. But it looks like European football will be assured. And a top half place is done as well. So it's just about whether we can chase third. I'm going to get through the rest of the transfer window. And we'll just come back for the next 5 games, I think. We'll come back on Tuesday night. Hamilton at home directly above us is a big one. And that'll be the one we finish up on. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. A slightly longer one than normal. I appreciate you all joining in, making it an active chat. And of course, if you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. I'll see you on Sunday at 10:30 AM for the next instalment of this one. And big daily content from the head coach and Bangor City in between. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your support of always. Yeah, that's it. Fan TV, people assume they're experts now, don't they? When some of them are just people like us saying what they want. But thank you all for your support. Thank you for making it active. Thank you for having a good debate in there. And I'll see you on Sunday morning. Plenty on the channel in the meantime. Thanks for watching.